Hey viewers! Today's discussion is all about those rare moments that's close to hitting the jackpot. Small wins in life that feel too good to be true. Let's dive right in.
What's your too good to be true experience that actually turned out to be true? I'm trying to find some wholesome and maybe even romantic anecdotes.
Worked at an Amazon fulfillment center for like 6 weeks a couple years ago. Was very awful, 0.1/10, don't recommend it. However, last year I received a letter in the mail from a law firm suing them, and I may be included in the settlement. So I fill out like 5 questions on their website, super easy. Thinking, hey, maybe I'll get a funny $20 from it or something and forget about it shortly after. 5 months ago, I get a check in the mail for $762. Insane. Life-changing money for me, TBH.
Similar thing happened to my husband. He worked for a company that was bought out and did some underhanded things with some of the employees' pensions. A coworker talked him into joining a long-shot class action lawsuit that they never expected to win. A couple years later, a judge unexpectedly ruled in their favor, and we had a check for $160,000.
Got a letter from the DOJ about a class action lawsuit against Western Union over fraudulent transactions that they did nothing to stop. I was scammed through Airbnb when it was new in literally 2011, and I just got this magic check in the mail for 1,300 Canadian dollars. Def helped pay off my credit card. Finding my current partner. I had dated a lot of really lackluster guys that made great first impressions before letting me down months down the line. I got used to it until my last ex crossed a line, and I vowed to up my standards when it comes to dating. Then I met my current partner. He seemed way out of my league and ticked all the boxes I had for my ideal partner. First year I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop and things to go wrong, but now, 6 years later, we're looking into buying a house together.
That I have a baby who has slept through the night since she was like 2 months old. She's now 9 months and still does.
Girls, I found a Dyson Airwrap at Winners for $150. All the attachments and everything were there when I opened it at home. Nothing will top that. Talk about great finds. Life sure knows how to sprinkle in some magic when we least expect it. Seriously, who else would experience such once-in-a-blue-moon miracles? Let's discover more of these.
I can give you romantic. I met my now husband in the summer before my freshman year of college. That's a longer story, haha. I was about to start as a freshman, and he was a rising senior at the same school. We bonded very quickly and declared one another official, GF/BF, before my freshman year even started. He really gave me a memorable and special freshman year. Took me out to wonderful date nights/dinners, invited me to stay over as often as I wanted in his single at his fraternity house, introduced me to so many people I now call lifelong friends, and supported me through all the ups and downs that come with being on your own for the first time. The next summer, I found myself in the midst of an existential crisis. Our relationship was fantastic, but was this really it? Were we just enjoying a fun time because it was convenient for both of us? And if it was something more, was I truly prepared to commit to this person for the long run at 19? It definitely felt too good to be true. I expressed these concerns to him, truly thinking he might break up with me, and all he said was that he understood if I needed space, but that for his part, he would do anything that he could, anything that I needed to feel more secure in our relationship. I acquiesced, and over the next few years, he really did keep his promise. He helped me navigate a mental health crisis and get on life-saving antidepressants. He went to all my student theater shows. He built his own successful consulting career without any connections, and then helped me start my own. He accompanied me to every family gathering without question and with a smile on his face. He planned an incredibly detailed, grandiose, and meaningful marriage proposal when the time came. I guess the message here, if there is one, is that when someone consistently shows up for you, whether it's a family member, friend, or romantic partner, do them the courtesy of believing that they mean it and thank them in kind.
My MIL. I got really lucky here. Never a criticism or a cross word, never a disagreement, just non-judgmental warmth. When I had cancer and was dealing with chemo side effects and complications, she'd lay her cool hands on my cheeks just like I was her own child. She is amazing with plants too, like a real-life earth goddess.
Not romantic, but I was in a foreign country on a vacation and needed a water taxi. One has just left, so there was almost nobody at the stop. Some local guy with a boat offered to take me where I needed to go. I figure he'll wait for more people and charge us. The drivers didn't wear any uniform or anything, so I had no way of knowing if this is a water taxi driver or some random dude with a boat. He waited just a few minutes, nobody else arrived, so he just took off. I was half convinced he's going to kidnap me or at least charge me some atrocious price, so I was quite nervous the whole way. But he took me to my hotel, so I took out the banknote that would cover the price other taxis asked. But he refused to take it and just waved me off. Said he didn't want money, wished me a nice day and left. I still don't know why he did it.
There's no way this beautiful older and successful woman would ever spare me a thought. We're talking for hours every week on the phone Q&D, planning to meet at a museum in a week.
For both me and my fiancé, it was meeting each other. You know how some people just have something about them that literally makes everyone they meet instantly fall in love with them? My fiancé is one of those people. Every single woman he met after his wife's passing 14 years ago wanted a long-term relationship with him, and some of them even courted him for years after he told them he wasn't interested, and he literally had 3 women stalking him for a long period of time after he rejected them, but he never fell in love with any of them and thus had given up on dating. Anyway, we met and fell in love at first sight. I moved in 41 days after our first meeting, and we have been inseparable ever since. So many women have fallen for him, but he never fell in love with any of them, but he fell in love with me at first sight, and that is the nicest feeling in the world.
Love, kindness, and unexpected generosity. These stories have it all. They remind us of life's beautiful moments. Let's move on.
I had suffered from horrible acne for probably like 15 years, as well as rosacea. I went to several dermatologists and bought so many products, but nothing worked. I just figured I would have terrible skin for the rest of my life. That's just the way it was. Ended up seeing a derm that prescribed low-dose antibiotics, erythromycin, and within 3 days it completely cleared up.
My boyfriend took me to Universal Studios in California for the Nintendo opening and then proposed to me the next day.
There's a man in his 80s that was my theatrical design mentor for about a decade. He had retired to my town and volunteered at my theater right when I was starting my career, and we worked together on many shows, and he taught me a lot of what I know. He lived next to a woman in her 90s named Mamie, who had built her house on a beautiful little mountain and lived there her whole life. He took care of her in her final years, even calling her every night before she went to sleep and every day when she woke up to make sure she was doing okay. When Mamie did pass, her niece handled her estate and told him he deserved to pick out his next neighbor and they'd sell it to that person at the exact appraisal value as is. He approached me with the offer and I was very skeptical at first, because it was 2019 and the market was incredibly hot in our area. And houses were being sold tens and hundreds of thousands over asking with crazy bidding wars and all cash offers. But sure enough, that's exactly what happened, and I'm still kind of in awe of how lucky we were with the entire situation. The house is 60 years old, and for sure we are having to replace/upgrade most of the major components as time goes on. But she has great bones, a wonderful warm vintage interior and beautiful views on a spacious plot. Avocado appliances, robin's egg blue speckled thick bathroom tiles, the nice inviting kind of wood paneling that glows from the inside, brick fireplaces. We paid $240K for a house that would have easily bid for $340K that is now probably valued around $500K, and locked in at a 2.4% rate. And the process was so easy and quick, and Mamie's niece so helpful and kind. It was really an incredible windfall, and is why we were able to slide into being homeowners right before it became impossible to do so. And now we have an incredible neighbor that we know always has our backs.
My partner. He's just perfect and I adore him. He's the person I live for. He's the first reason I've ever had to be a grown-up, responsible, and protective adult man instead of a massive fuck around. And I might be biased because I love him, but he's really fucking pretty.
Rekindling with my current fling. I had a crush on him about 10 years and we lost touch. About 3 months ago we randomly reconnected and things have been great. Has light years out of my league, I still can't believe it.
Falling in love with a person who would gladly accept my daughter. I got divorced early last year. I never expected to fall for someone, let alone a friend, so soon after separating from my ex-husband. I remember telling my mother, who would want a divorced single mother? Then I started falling for my friend. We both didn't know where those feelings were headed, but from the very start, he said he wouldn't just choose me, but my daughter too. We started dating and he turned out to be the best partner I could have hoped for. For months in, I introduced him to my daughter and things have been going wonderfully ever since. We have been together for nearly 10 months now. My partner would do everything for us. He loves me unconditionally and loves my daughter as if she is his own. He brings her to school, tucks her in at night, reads her bedtime stories, takes her with him to go grocery shopping and comforts her at night when she can't sleep. She adores him. She loves sitting on his lap to watch him play video games. She enjoys helping him cook, and is the first at the door when he comes home from work. I often wonder how I got so lucky. And when I voice this to him, he says he's the lucky one.
These experiences are heartwarming reminders that life can surprise us in the most unexpected ways. This makes us hopeful amidst all challenges. Let's now hear about the remaining comments.
I got together with my husband when I was 19 and he was 21. Everyone said impossible, you're too young. We outlasted every single one of those MFS relationships that said that. Our marriage is so beautiful and wonderful. My heart melted when my daughter told her teacher, "My daddy loves my mommy so much."
This guy I had a huge crush on turned out to be into me as well. I had started hanging out with him as friends, thinking that's where it would probably stay, but 7 years later, we're married and have 2 cats.
I have 2 and both are financial. In 2021, I was scrolling Twitter and saw a tweet from the TED Talk organization. It was very vague but said something like, "If you want to be part of an experiment, message us and let us know." I did that and I got an automated response with a survey that was like 3 questions, again very vague. I promptly forgot all about it. A few months later, I got an email with a link to a video. There was some 2-factor authorization in there to get to the link. Okay, fine. The video was from Chris Anderson, the owner of TED Talks. In the video, he explained that a wealthy supporter of TED had hired the organization to carry out the experiment, and I was one of those chosen to be part of it. I would receive $10,000 US tax-free to spend however I wanted, and in exchange, I had to spend the entire thing no investing it or putting it in savings and report every couple of weeks on how I used the money. I was sure it was a scam, but it was not. The second too good to be true incident was in spring 2022. After years of severe knee pain, I went to the doctor to get a steroid injection into the joint. She took an X-ray and said my knee joint was in really bad shape. There was a lot going on in my life at that time, so I didn't have time or money to get involved with any further treatment. A couple of weeks later, I got a letter from my medical insurance company telling me that if I wanted to pursue knee replacement surgery, it would cost me nothing. That seemed impossible, and I threw away the letter. A few days later, someone from the insurance company called me. She asked if I got and understood the letter. I told her I was skeptical about the offer. She told me that the knee replacement surgery would be at no cost to me, and I said, "Yeah, until I get a bill for the hospital room, the anesthesiologist, labs, and anything else that isn't the actual surgery." She said nope, and that from the time of admission to the time of discharge, 100% of my surgery and care would be covered. I had to pay my regular copay for the pre-surgical consult, $40, and for physical therapy post-surgery. But this offer turned out to be on the level. I had the surgery, and there were no surprise bills. I still can't believe it.
My life took a complete turn 1.5 years ago. I was in such a rut and just overall depressed and struggling. I thought my life was going nowhere. Then I landed a stable job that allowed me to start healing. One day, I mentioned a master's program to my manager that I'd been thinking about for a couple years. She said I should apply, so I did, and I got in. Around that time, I also met my partner. I was sick of dating apps and disappointment, so I told myself this is the last one, then I'm taking a break. As soon as I met him, I felt this deep sense of home. By the 5th date, we were inseparable. He also supported my return to school. 35, and my life was changing. Within a few months of starting grad school, I landed a new role with a high salary, essentially pulling me out of poverty. Now, here I am halfway through my master's and thriving in school, in my job, engaged to the best human I could ask for, fully off antidepressants and 10 weeks pregnant. I still can't believe this is my life.
My current partner. After having successive failures in online dating for 12 years, I gave up on apps for a while and only went back on to just check out the dating scene for fun after spending a year healing. Matched my partner and met him 1 week after. I remember telling my friend and parents that it would probably be a 1 to 2 hour meeting and I'm done. I ended up spending 5 hours with him. Something felt like home the first time we met. Didn't get the feeling of butterflies, but a feeling of peace, and we got along so while having so many similar perspectives and values. He seemed like he had everything I wanted from the first date, so I continued going out with him. He's Brazilian, and there's always this stigma that Brazilian men don't really treat their women well. A few friends advised me as well when I started dating him, but I decided to keep my mind open and go with the flow. That said, he treats me like a literal princess, cooked for me. In general, just so kind and treated me really well at the start of the relationship, so we settled in fast, moved in together in 2 months. Of course, over time we had our fights since both of us have been single for a long time, so it took a while to adapt, but things have been mostly peaceful since. Just today he bought me a cake and was feeding me while I was watching videos on my phone, still treating me like a princess after 9 months. He also just cooked dinner for us and is taking care of all the dish cleaning despite having a long day at work. We are getting married this June too. Also, when we were in Brazil visiting his family, I had to work for a week remotely online in European time zone. He woke up every day with me at 4 a.m. to make me breakfast. He is always telling me that all he wants to do is to make me happy, and he's still doing that. Honestly, I also always thought I'd be single and envisioned myself growing old with a cat after having been single for so long. I only met him when I was 35 last year, so I guess miracles can happen when you least expect it.
What a whirlwind of wholesome and incredible stories. Let's carry these heartwarming anecdotes with us, reminding ourselves to stay hopeful to the surprises life has in store. Who knows? Maybe you're the next to tell the world about your own too good to be true experience. See you on the next video.